anybody who does not do that, who does not take a holistic approach and really dig in and see exactly what you've got going in your life, I would be leery of. Hello, welcome to Retirement Fundamentals. My name is Ryan Anderson, and I am your guide to and through retirement. Today, we're going to ask a question. We're actually going to answer a question. One of the things about this podcast, it is designed to help folks just like you answer the questions surrounding retirement that you don't know where else to get them from. So I had somebody write in and ask, what is an annuity and how do I get one? An annuity is an insurance product that gives you contractual guarantees. Sometimes they are for income. Sometimes they are for growth. Sometimes they are for long-term care. But let's just say that you have gone out and you have found an annuity you want to get, or you've decided, an annuity is right for me. What do I do? How do I go through the process of getting it? Well, the first thing you're going to need to go through and do is find somebody with an insurance license. That this is what is required in order to sell one of these things or to buy one. You have to do it from somebody who is licensed, and to go through and to find the one that is right for you. So if you were to come to me and say, Ryan, I want to get an annuity, the first thing I would do is, let's sit down and find out if it is right for you. There's some qualifications to it. Insurance company have got requirements for liquidity. They've got requirements for your age. Some of them have got health requirements. Most don't. But these are all things that we have to sit and discuss. So what is the purpose of the annuity? Well, if it's for income, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Are we going to have enough money to put into it and leave liquid for you to have to cover your daily and your life emergencies with? So if you were to give me a call, the first thing we do is we'd sit down and I'd go through a fact-finding process. I'd ask you a whole bunch of questions. I'd ask about your health. I'd ask about your long-term care plans. I'd ask about life insurance. I would ask about your income, your assets, to get an overall picture of where it's at. I'd ask about your health. We'd talk about some estate planning as far as do you have wills, trusts, those kinds of things in place, so that we've got a real lay of the land. And my counsel to you is anybody who does not do that, who does not take a holistic approach and really dig in and see exactly what you've got going in your life, I would be leery of. They're just selling products. They're just slinging stuff out there. But if they actually go through and take the time to find out what's going on in your life, everything that I've just described, they'll be able to make a much better recommendation to you. So we go through. We ask all those questions. I then take all that data back to my office and I sit down, and it usually takes me about a week, and I go over all sorts of solutions. And I look at, all right, so we need a income piece. So we'll just say for this conversation, you need income. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to look at all the income generating annuities that are available to you. And we're going to find out which one works most appropriate for your situation. Is that going to be one that is a level income where it's just the same dollar amount from now until forever that's going to be there for the duration of both you and your spouse's life? Or do we need to look at something that's got an increasing option? And there are a couple of examples of that where we can find something that will have a guaranteed 3% every year increasing, or we could put it where it's got a fixed index option where they use an index to determine how it grows. So that's a long drawn out way, fairly technical, to get into say that you've got lots of options. So I will go through, and based off the questions we ask and how you answer, we will make a recommendation. That usually takes me about a week. Then we get back together. Now, and I can do these things virtually, or we can do them face-to-face, depending on where you're at, or one of the agents that I work with, or if you've got an agent you work with, remote or face-to-face, either one's fine. And we go through and we identify it, and then we break everything down. And this is the approach that I take is, all right, we've got your Social Security, we've got your pension, you've got, between those two things, you've got $3,000 a month of income. We need to figure out how we're going to get another $2,000 a month of income to get to the $5,000 a month goal. Now, I'm just making numbers up here, but this is one way to do it. And then so I look at a couple of different solutions. Whatever those solutions are, we'll recommend them. We will then go through the detailed process to show you the pros, the cons of both, because like everything out there, there's good and there's bad. No pancake is so thin that it doesn't have two sides. So we'll find out the solution that works best for you. Then we sit down and we go through an application process. Now, the application process takes about a half hour, 40 minutes. And we get into everything as far as how much money do you have? What is the purpose of this? What is your sensitivity to other types of investments? And then we will go through and I'll submit that done. We'll sign it all electronically. Again, whether I'm in person with you or remote, we can do it either way. After that, we then have to have a couple of pages actually signed, papers signed. We can, and so I will email those to you, and then you have to actually go through and sign those papers, and then we'll fax those off to the insurance companies or to the company where the funds are currently being held. After that is all said and done, we will have a phone call a couple of days later, and this will either be with me or one of my associates, and we're going to call the organization that's currently holding the funds. If it's your checking account, you write a check and mail it to the insurance company. If it's in a 401k or an IRA or some other type of investment account, then we need to have that conversation to get the money transferred to the insurance company where the annuity is going to be held. And it's been my experience that is the biggest sticky wicket in this whole thing. Is that quite often the companies that are holding the money may not want to release them as quickly as they think they should. So we go through and do that, and then my office will call that company after we get this paperwork done and after we call them and find out what their requirements are twice a week. Every Tuesday and Friday, we're going to call that company and find out what's going on. From the time the application's submitted, if we're staying on top of things and if everybody's doing what they're supposed to, somewhere from 2 to 4 weeks later that annuity should be issued. They will then send the contract. And you can get the contract in a couple of different ways. You can have it digitally sent to you and just where it's an email and just make sure you don't delete it. Or you can have it printed out and have it in a printed form. I prefer that. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars here in many occasions. And so I would like to have a piece of paper, not just an email somewhere that shows where it's at. We get the contract in, I will bring it out to you, or I will mail it to you and we will review it together virtually. You then have the ability to go through and sleep on it. That all annuity contracts come with something called a 30-day look. A couple of the states it's only 20 days, but most of the states it's 30 days. And you're able to go through and make the decision, am I comfortable with this? Do I want to keep this? Is this solving all of the problems and taking care of all of the concerns that I had? You have the ability to answer that, and if it is, after 30 days, you've got your annuity contract. Now, there's a couple of things when it comes to annuities you need to be aware of. Number one, if it is a growth annuity, quite often the amount of accumulation you're going to get in that annuity may not be as big as you would have in the market. That is a concern. However, you're eliminating all the risk. I can show you how you can get growth when the market goes up or the index goes up more appropriately. And if the index corrects, you're guaranteed not to take a loss. There's a lot of other ones out there that'll give you a guaranteed return similar to a CD at a bank. So trying to find the right one that works for you and your scenario is a big deal. Now, once you get the annuity contract in and you're past that 30-day guaranteed period of time, you now have this contract for the next 7 to 8 to 10 years, depending on how long the original term was. And so we've got them anywhere from 5 to 15 years. And each year, the agent should sit down with you and do a review to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. And so then at that point in time, if for whatever reason you slip through the cracks, they don't call, give them a call. And then that way you can go through and make sure your contracts are as up to date as possible. So that is the basic, quick 30,000-foot view on how to buy an annuity. Now, the thing about it is if you've got other questions, please go ahead and put them into the comments below. If you've got a question you'd like us to answer here at Retirement Fundamentals, please put that in the comment below, and we will try to get them answered as quickly as possible. Thank you much for joining us, and I hope you have a happy retirement.